not sure if you guys can hear me, but I'll try making the video and see how it turns out. Because I'm in a really cool car, a 1969 Buick Skylark convertible. My buddy's father-in-law is a car collector, and he likes us to drive the cars occasionally, so I'll go grab one on the weekend sometimes. Cruise around, just going over to a buddy's house and then the grocery store. But anyways, yesterday I live in Richmond, and yesterday I drove to Northern Virginia with the intention of buying a new truck. And when I was out test driving the truck, luck would have it, somebody rear-ended me. So the police were called. Police got there, 1 unit came, then 2 units, then 3. And I thought that was mighty suspicious, and they had my driver's license for an awful long time, especially considering in reality it's the dealership's car and stuff, so for insurance purposes, the guy who rear-ended me's got to deal with them. Hopefully that helps. If that was windy sounding, hopefully it's better now. Anyway, so I walk over to one of the cop cars, the guy who's got my license, and go over to ask him, hey, can I get my license back? I want to go continue my test drive, because the vehicle was damaged a little bit, but really it was minor damage to the bumper. And he flips down his computer screen really quickly. Made me very suspicious. So I was actually with my friend Karen, who was with me when I was arrested in January for holding a sign at the Virginia State Capitol in protest of Governor Northam's infanticide, as well as his blackface KKK photo. And that would, you know, there's a video of that. I'll put that in the link below, in the comments below. But anyways, they ended up arresting me, even though I went to court. You know, I got my attorney. I went to court on May 19th to fight this gross injustice for being charged in the first place when I had spent 4 days in jail over this. And they refused to prosecute when we went to court May 19th. You know, I'd lost all this time from work. I took time off from work, paid for an attorney, and they refused to prosecute. So what does the Commonwealth's attorney do? He turns around and has me indicted in a grand jury, which a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich because you're not there to defend yourself, and charged me with trespassing again, picketing in front of a residence, which is absolutely absurd because the law, number one, I wasn't trespassing. That is absolutely absurd charge on the Virginia State Capitol grounds. Number two, it specifically says in the law about picketing a residence that it doesn't include when it's like a public place, you know, such as the governor's mansion. And of course, nobody could interpret the governor's mansion, which is right there near the legislative building in Virginia Capitol Square, as being a residence under this code of not picketing at a residence. Okay, people demonstrate there all the time. It's the whole problem came in of me holding a sign, which is if you weren't involved in that case or don't know anything about it, the Virginia Capitol Police have a have a regulation that's written by a bureaucrat that says you cannot hold a sign in Capitol Square, even though the Virginia Constitution specifically protects peaceful protests, demonstrations, free speech. And even their regulation does not say you can't hold a sign. It's very specific and says you can't hold a sign that promotes a particular political party and something else. So I wasn't even in violation of the regulation, even though the regulation is not applicable. The law is what's applicable, not some regulation that a bureaucrat writes. So, and then indicted me for obstruction of police, because I wasn't very cooperative with the police after I was arrested. You know, I was peaceful, but I was not cooperative with them, including refusing to take a medical exam, and then they forcefully drugged me into a hospital where the physician, thank goodness, honored my request that I did not need or want any medical attention, including an examination, which was a requirement to go into the Richmond City Jail. So, because they then couldn't take me to the Richmond City Jail, they then unlawfully took me to Henrico County Jail, who the Henrico Sheriff or his deputies unlawfully accepted and imprisoned me for several days, including no phone call for 32 hours, including isolation for 28 hours. So anyway, that Commonwealth's attorney had apparently gone to the grand jury, got me indicted on these absurd charges again after refusing to prosecute, and I was arrested. They didn't inform my attorney that I had an arrest warrant. Certainly didn't inform me, and therefore I'm arrested under very terrible circumstances when I'm getting ready to buy a vehicle I've traveled 2 hours for, and it was just a continuation of the nightmare. Anyway, this is now going to circuit court, and I'm starting to really wonder if there's not some ulterior motives with the Commonwealth's attorney, who seems to have it up his ass for me. But I'm going to find that out, because I'm a crack investigator, and I'm great at digging and snooping, and I already have 2 theories that are pretty solid, and I'm going to try to, using freedom of information and such, try to figure out which one of those is applicable here, because I do not believe that I'm just some guy that the Commonwealth's attorney wants to prosecute for holding up a sign. It's either politically motivated or something else that I don't want to talk about on video right now, because I want to be able to examine it further without it, being obvious that I'm examining it. I am also considering, I'm wanting to do a civil lawsuit, although I'm involved with suing the DHS right now, and I wanted to wait until that was concluded. Well, I no longer feel like that's the case, because I now just feel like there's been, on top of police misconduct, Sheriff's Department misconduct, I believe there's now prosecutorial misconduct. I'm not asserting that for sure, but I suspect that. And the discovery process of a civil lawsuit would uncover that. So I'm considering, because my attorney's not real big on, I haven't talked to him face to face since this happened Saturday. But my attorney hasn't been real big on filing a civil lawsuit on a contingency basis. So I'm considering setting up a GoFundMe page for people who, support the First Amendment, support children's rights not to be, murdered after being born, which is what Governor Northam suggested. And I'm hoping that maybe people are willing to help me out in fighting this battle. Because I don't do this. I was explaining this to a friend of mine today. He's like, Neil, man, why don't you stop doing those demonstrations and stuff? And I explained to him, I'm like, look, man, I'm not here on this planet to be of service to myself, I said, I'm truly here to be of service to others. I do stuff to have fun and have a job and make money and all that. Or I'm in business for myself, I should say. But, that's not my main reason for being here. My main reason for being here is truly to be of service to others and to try to spread awareness and to help people muster the courage, to stand up for really what are self-evident rights, So anyway, I hope that, I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet, but for instance, if my attorney would take the case on, or if I could find a good attorney to take the case on a contingency basis, I wouldn't need to raise any funds, because then they're paid if we prevail. A lot of attorneys don't want to do that unless it's a layup, like car accident or ambulance chasing case. They like that, but not when it comes to civil rights. I've found out a whole lot of them, including like the ACLU, they don't really stand for civil rights. They're just a political organization. Anyway, I appreciate any feedback that anybody has on, what you think about starting a GoFundMe page for this to finance a civil lawsuit, and potentially now I'm going into circuit court, finance further legal defense expenses. I don't know how long this could drag on now. Hopefully it's just one short dismissal. Anyway, I'd appreciate your feedback, guys, and I appreciate the continued support, and I just wanted to update you as to the lawless activity that's occurring here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. That is a perpetual harassment that, it's impossible to pursue happiness and joy when you have these sort of legal clouds looming over your head that could equate to jail time. And plus, driving around, I get arrested, I have to go to jail. And also the magistrate in Fairfax, although prior I was, released on my own cognizance down in here in Richmond, he posted a $1,500 bond on me up in Fairfax, not here, I'm back in Richmond. I've never not showed up for court in my life. I wanted to fight that case on May 19th, and the prosecutor refused to fight it. And now he's implying I'm a flight risk? And he pulled out one of the bogus police reports that's riddled with lies from the Virginia Capitol Police that, as far as I know, is not submitted under oath. I never had the opportunity in court to question this particular officer's report under oath, and yet a magistrate is sitting there reading that to me of what a horrific, horrible person I am, and use that as a reason to interpret me as a flight risk. How that even works, I don't know, but I do know the magistrate was a rookie, and I will be pursuing holding him accountable too for his mistake, although I don't think he was necessarily being malicious as I do incompetent and inexperienced in such things. Anyway, just wanted to update you guys and get some feedback. Please leave feedback on what your thoughts are on a GoFundMe page to take civil action against, the Virginia Capitol Police, against the Henrico Sheriff's Department, and possibly even the prosecutor here. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.